Hi, it's Monday at 10 o'clock. Yay. And it's time for who knows what's going to happen today. We'll see. With Dice and Dungeons. That's the usual theme, is that sometimes there's painting, sometimes there's other stuff, like working on who knows what, I don't know. I'm going to mutter incoherently here because it's Monday morning and why not? Okay, so what really happened is yesterday I painted the top shell, this part of the Lotus-Ford race car, green. You can see it looks black on my monitor. I don't know how it's coming across on yours. I think the camera doesn't do colors really well. Like the Savoia was a really bright red. It came across as kind of an orange. This is British Racing green. It's dark forest green, and it comes across as almost black. So I apologize for the high quality ring camera thing here. But this part is this. It's the top shell. It's the part of the car that's the most visible. It's the most important part of the whole car as far as appearances go, not in terms of, mechanically if it were a real car. But yeah, so it's painted green now. And underneath this tape, which I will be taking off, is supposed to be this yellow stripe, including the flare here. And I'm a little anxious about that. I have no idea. I mean, it might look really nice like this, or it might not, in which case I'll have to do yet a lot more work. So what can I say? It's going to I'm going to untape the stripe first, because if I need to do a lot of touching up, I'll have to retape some of this anyway. So there's that. My little contraption of alligator clips holding alligator clips. These are all nicely painted green as well. They're very green. Spray paint wastes a lot of paint. I'll just say that. I think airbrushing still wastes a lot of paint, but not as much as that. Let's say that's the most wasteful part of building these models, is the painting of them with spray paint. Because the spray paint I think it's relatively expensive, for what you get in the little spray cans. But in the absence of any kind of airbrushing skill, it's just what it is. Okay. Well, the stripe is up here under this tape, and I think I'm just going to try to waste some time before I unmask it, because I really don't know how it's going to look. It could be gorgeous, in which case I could just go ahead and start, doing the detailing on the seat back here and start installing the filler caps and put the seat in, and then try to stick this onto the model. That's going to be a little tricky because it doesn't fit very well. Or I might have to just retape it and repaint the yellow. I don't know. I had to do that on the tail cone of the car. Wherever that ended up near this. So this turned out okay, but not at first. So I painted this whole thing yellow, and then I taped it, and then painted it green, and I took the tape off, and there were lots of flaws on the yellow. So I had to retape along the outside edges of the yellow, cover up the green, and repaint the yellow, which turned out to be a good idea, because this is how it's supposed to look. Okay. It's supposed to look like that, and it does, so that's good. There's another bit I painted that I can't really reach without knocking stuff over. That turned out okay. Yeah, let me reach it. This goes back here like this. this is the engine cover, and the yellow came out okay. There's some sort of cap there that it isn't quite yellow because the paint is off a little bit, but it looks okay the way it is, so you can actually see what it is. But the green came out okay, so this will eventually go there like that, and the engine's back here. And yeah. So later today, when I get my courage up, which will be, not very long from now because I have to get on with this, I'm going to take this tape off here where the stripe is supposed to be and see how that turned out. And I hope it turned out okay, including the little swoopy thing. And if it did, like I said, then I have to paint the detail of the seat back here, the back of the seat, and put these filler caps in. There's stuff that needs to be attached to this before it gets installed. Otherwise, if I cemented this in, I wouldn't be able to get those pieces in. And then there's actually even a radiator. So it's these things here, these roundy bits. I get a pointer stick. There's these roundy bits here, here, and here. Those need to be installed. And then there's an ignition thing that's supposed to be, I'm going to just dig around a little bit and see where that's supposed to go. Oh yeah, that gets attached to this also. The roll bar gets attached to this, but I'm not going to put that on until it's all assembled because it'll just be in the way. It goes across here. So these filler caps, these round filler caps, and the ignition. Go into these bits, and then the ignition gets attached to the side here somewhere. I'm not sure what. Usually they're really bad about actually having an attachment point to find. I don't know. We'll have to see. And then the radiator goes inside the nose here, right here, and needs to be adhered somehow with some sort of adhesive that I'll figure out when the time comes. Yeah, a couple more minutes of yeah. I just don't know how this will turn out, but I won't know until I take the tape off, and it's just got to happen. So let's. Here we go. Get some tweezers. Get the tape started. There's a nice little tape tab here on the little stick that gives me a place to pull it up off the surface. Well, there's a nice yellow stripe on the tape. It's peeling the paint off. That's great. I'm a little bit concerned about that. This isn't the best masking tape in the world. Certainly stuck on there. Not too bad. Just a little touch up on that. And this roundy bit here. I think I'll fix that with some paint. It's not as nice as I was hoping it would be. Okay, well, that's good. See, this stripe is good. So if there's something bad up here, if this goes badly up here, That's good because then I don't have to repaint this. I need to touch this up a little bit, just little bits of touching up. I think I can do that without hurting anything. A roundy bit. Okay, I'm going to take the nose off because this tape comes off better. I'm not taking the nose off. I'm taking the tape off the nose. Pick it up here. Okay, that's not perfect. Okay, the line is a little bit wiggly here. Okay, so I'm really tempted to do touch up on that. I don't know. Let me see how this came out. That part was really hard to get, and I taped it from the inside, the yellow side. I don't know if I can do it much better from the outside. It might just need to be the way it is. Okay, that came out okay. So the only thing that I'm really not terribly happy about, and I have to decide what to do here. See, this should be a nice swoopy. It should be a nice swoopy thing here, but there's a decal. This big 82 goes right over that. So here's the question. Can I tape this on the inside, just the swoopy part on both sides, and touch up the paint? Or is that as good as it's going to get? I could try to brush it a little bit, but that is almost certainly not going to work. It's just that one spot, like right there, tiniest little bit. The yellow paint will dissolve the green underneath it. It won't cover it perfectly. But trying to get the tape on there, it just doesn't cover that well. It doesn't bend well. This side's this side's not too bad. It isn't as nicely curved as I'd like. It's kind of an angle there, but this side has a little better curve. I'm going to say it's okay. I'm just going to say it is what it is, and it is just okay. Here's another flaw. Jeez. Okay, the stripe is okay, but the tape doesn't leave a nice smooth surface. It actually left a little. It's like the adhesive is still on there a little bit. It left adhesive residue. Wonder if I can get that off. Yeah, it just rubs off. Okay, just have to do that. So this is like 90. Yeah, it's just, yeah, see, taping it from the inside with the bendy tape didn't work. And then I used a really thin tape. And to think that I can get that better than it is, I don't know. Really too bad that the good masking tape, okay, it's too bad that the good masking tape doesn't come in 1/4 inch widths. What's happening here? This, okay, so you can see that the big 82 will cover this. It'll cover that. This area right here. Tiny, tiny little bit of flaw in the paint. Just gonna have to. I'm gonna have to live with it. I can't do anything about it, really. I'm gonna say this is going to be okay. I'm just going to declare this a success because retaping. I'm going to try. I'm going to give it a try to see how that would work because it worked on the tail cone. Retaping it and touching it up worked really well on the tail cone. I'm going to spend just a couple of minutes with this little bit of tape, this little 2mm tape. I just want to see. I want to see how this goes. Damn it! Oh, that'll get covered up, but still. This is probably. I'm experimenting here. I just want to see if I can make it. If there's room for improvement here or not. Put my head magnifier on to do this. No, it's not going to work. Okay, so this is as good as it gets. I'm going to declare this a B+ effort. It's not as nice as I would like it to be, but it looks better than it would with the decal, and at a respectful distance of 18 inches, I think it'll just be what it is. I have to say I'm a little bit disappointed that it's not better, but I'm actually kind of pleasantly surprised that it's as good as it is. I'm going to finish untaping this, and then I need to fix this up here, that bit up there. And paint the seat stick off. That'll be trash. Trash pile here so I can keep adding to it. So it came out okay, and I'm going to move on to final assembly. Finally, it'll take a while to get the final assembly finally done, but that's what's going to be happening next. This came out nicely on the bottom here. That part looks good. Yeah, try not to bust it. Okay. There. I'm going to throw this away because it's really in the way. Need to decide. This roundy bit here needs touching up. I need to decide what to do with it. This part came out okay. When I want to use the green paint, I'm going to try that. Sticky tack here. Lovely. So the way I do this is I spray a little paint in the container and then use a teeny tiny brush and very carefully do some touching up on that. I think I can pull that off. If not, I will have created a disaster. Should have just painted it yellow, but I didn't. Yeah, I need to really focus on this. I mean, seriously, I need to be really, really focused because this could prove to be a very bad thing if it goes badly. What the hell? Okay. Well, this is going to have to be done a different way. Um, this brush, amazingly, see that the paint is just coming out a different color. This happens. The brush is not perfectly clean, and the solvent in this dissolved it. So I have another color that's really close to that. Actually, what I should do is I should paint it glossy black. I should paint it gloss black. Really weird. What? Hmm. Actually, the paint. All right, I'm trying to do a little touch up here, and the paint itself is changing color. I don't understand. I need to put this aside so I don't mess it up with a solvent. I think it might be dissolving. It might be dissolving the container that it's in. With some really delicate, tiny little bits of touch-up, turning out to be actually quite a challenge. And it needs to be touched up. It's not good the way it is. But the paint came out, the right color. Looks like the pigments are separating or something. I don't know what that can be. So it's the spray paint, okay? And it, you can't really see it here, but it's like there's a light blue undercoat and it's separated from the dark green pigment. I could paint this whole thing black, but instead of just touching up little bits around the edges, it looks like that's what I'm going to have to do. This just didn't work. Um, it's just the rough edges around this circle that it just didn't come out perfect, and so it needs to be redone. Um, I have a glossy black. Well, I'm just going to use this, I guess. And I'm going to have to just be really, really, really careful. Okay, well, I'm going to be doing some really fine detail touch up here, and I have to be extremely careful. So I'm going to be pretty silent, I think, while I'm doing this. Maybe it'll be on camera. I'm not entirely sure. We'll find out. Well, that's pretty good. I'm just going to stop. Well, hi. I am doing fine. Things are going adequately. I got the yellow stripe painted on here. It's a little bit less than perfect. It's a B minus instead of an A because of a little bit of rough edges there, but I knew it was going to be very, very hard to get that right, given the material I was working with. But it looks way better painted than it would with the decal. So um, I'm painting the seat now. So the seat way in the back here, you can see there's this on the picture, there's these black bolsters and the red cushion. They're actually molded in here, and I need to paint those on top of what's there. And I'm trying to decide if the black, if I want to use the glossy black on this or not. I think, they're kind of leatherette. I'm not going to use the glossy. I'm going to use the flat black. It's just sort of detail stuff that needs to be there to make it look good. I'm going to paint the black first and then the red. So the this is that part of the car. You can see it looks pretty much like it should. These metallic things get attached here and here. They get put in from the bottom. This big decal goes right here on the nose, right over the seam there. That gets put on later after it's attached, because the process of attaching this to the rest of the car body could mess up the decals, so the decals will go on last. So it's some detail stuff now that needs to be done. And then assembly. So the rest of this week we'll be putting together the car. Yay, maybe if it goes okay, if the parts fit and all of that. Okay, I'm going to keep wearing these. It just makes it so much easier to, especially since it's sort of dark on dark. It's a helpful way of being able to see what I'm doing. Thanks for dropping in. I do appreciate it. I have made a humongous mess here. Humongous is a technical phrase, a technical term for the mess I have made. The difficult part here. Top of the cushion. Nice clean edge. That's going to be okay. Yeah, I didn't want to have to come back and forth too many times trying to touch up paint that I can't touch up. So I need to let that dry, and then I need to get the center cushion, the bulby cushion, that's painted red. It's kind of yellow right now, but it will be red. I can move this down a little bit, I guess. I can try to stay on camera. Have to let the black paint dry. So while the black paint is drying, I can probably attach these covers. These are the fuel fillers, oil fillers. And they go in these holes, and I'll show you that how that works. I have to make sure I get the right one in the right place. The instruction manual is not, they're not, parts aren't numbered. The fuel filler cap has a bigger blob on it, a bigger protrusion. And what I want to do is they just need to be inserted from the back like this. And then that looks pretty nice, doesn't it, once that's in? I'm going to use contact cement on these. Because that's quite forgiving, and I need to have forgiveness here. The contact cement, I've said many times I like it because it gives me time. I get to apply it to like these parts, okay, and then they can sit here for quite a while, up to 2 hours really, before they have to be assembled. And I need a real pointy toothpick to get it on the parts where I want it and not where I don't. The cement does a really fine job of, what I'm trying to do is get the cap off. Okay, it does a really fine job of actually adhering to the cap. Usually, there we go. What I really should do is I should clean the cement off of the inside of the cap. I haven't done that. This goes right along this little ridge here. Which is not easy to do since I can't imagine doing this with the regular cement. It would just make a hideous mess. So I'm getting a holding down stick. Is there a little string of cement? Okay, now it's getting. You don't have to have it all the way around. But it would be good if it was. Don't want it on the front. Okay, now this needs to get on both surfaces, which means that I need to put it on the inside of these holes as well. Turn this around so that those are not way there. I didn't drop them on the floor. That was kind of a surprise. Fully expected one of those to fall off. It doesn't have to be very much of it. It's the thin layer, as long as it touches itself, it holds really well. let's hope that works. That is set for just a bit. Okay, the oil fillers go in the back here. Those are these. Probably put those in first because they don't have a specific orientation. Here's the fuel filler caps. Looks like they have a flap that comes down. Trying to rotate it. Ever so slightly. Okay, well, those are installed now. Yay. The other thing that needs to be attached somehow, this is going to be more of a challenge, is the radiator, which is sort of, but not quite accurate in terms of its appearance. But it should go. It go here like this, so that when you look in it from the front, you can see it, and it should go just behind these openings here, kind of like that. what I'm going to try to do is get it situated, right? And then I'm going to try to put some, if it'll stay put, and then I'm going to try to very gently put some adhesive on the inside of it, like on these contact points here. And as you can see, the part was not part of the original kit. Okay. It wasn't even on a tree on the sprue at all. It was just loose. And it was nice to have it because it's supposed to be there. It's not made to fit. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to put some of this contact cement works by contact, and I don't have a contact point here. I mean, I can't. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to try it. It's easy to see where it goes along the top. It's right along the top edge here. I'm trying to see where, if I put contact cement down, where it would go on the bottom. Well, the bottom here is actually the top. I've got it turned upside down. Okay, well, why not give it a go, right? These are attached. This looks okay now. Try this anyway. What could go wrong? other than almost everything. Trying to put a line of this sort of where it needs to be. That part is not going to be seen. You can't see it from anywhere. Okay. Which is a good thing. Otherwise, that would be a problem. Okay, I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to clean off the cap here a little bit so that this gets some of this excess cement off the top. Not working. I can't even get that off. Wow, that's really gummed on there. It makes a nice tight seal anyway when the cap closes. You can't see what I'm doing, can you? No, I'm off camera. I'm trying to clean off the cement that's around the cap so that it doesn't stick so much when I try to open it. But it's not working, so just whatever. End up using I really need to try to do that. There, a little piece of you might say, well, I put that contact cement on that model quite a while ago. Yeah, that's just fine because this stuff can just sit there for like 2 hours, it says, and it'll still grip. Nice, huh? I make sure it's not all over my hands. Okay, now the trick is, here's the trick. The trick is going to be Getting this sort of situated. It's kind of gripping there. You know, if it just stays where it is, if it stays where it is, that will be just fine. Like gripping on one side. Great. It's okay. I think it's okay the way it is. Hopefully it will just stay there. We'll let that set for a bit. Before I turn it over, I have to do some painting on this side. And I need to repaint this. This needs to be repainted red because it's got all scarred up here on the back. Put it on there. Get thing to grip it. Okay, so this is hasn't been destroyed yet. The stripe is okay. It's not as gorgeous as I would like it, but not bad. The decal goes here. These filler caps are in place. Right. So there's this bit here. This is supposed to be attached to this somehow, somewhere. Transistorized ignition. It doesn't say if it goes on the outside or the inside. It is totally obscure. This little bit. Okay. There's a place for the windshield and the roll bar. Okay. There's a little bit of a prong here, which isn't on the other side, but it's on the wrong side. There's no indentation on this. It is not, there is no clue. I mean, it looks like it goes on the outside. It looks like it's supposed to go like on the outside of this somehow. Seriously, like right here on the outside. Is there any hint of it? There's no hint about where that could possibly go. I've got some other pictures. I'm going to take a look. The engine. Oh, there it is. Huh. Yeah, it does. It's right there on the outside. Weird. Very weird. And it does go on that side. It looks like the kind of thing, it would go right here. front of the roll bar. It looks like the kind of thing that needs to be put on after the windshield is assembled so that it can be right. If I get it up too high, then the windscreen isn't going to cover it. It's going to be in the way. So it's really interesting. I mean, they made the part, and it goes pretty much goes here. But I have to wait till I get the windshield on, because otherwise I don't know that it'll fit very well. So I know it goes on the outside. Contact cement will work. It will be saved for another day. Okay, now I get to paint this part right here. The cushion is that right there with red paint. I'm very, very cleverly making a mess, a huge mess in my workspace here. Get all sorts of paints out that I don't need, or that I do need, but not right now. I've got red. There it is, the red paint. Okay. Well, that was pretty good. I'm glad I looked at the picture, and I'm glad I had a picture that showed exactly what it was and where it went. After I'm done painting this bit, I'm going to take a break, a brief break today. Squeeze out a fair amount of this. I'm pretty sure this is the color I used. Doesn't look the same, does it? Red. I don't know why else I would have had it out. Just checking my color chart. Yeah, it's what it is. Okay, I'm going to do the fiddly bit first. The part that requires precision. Of course, this stuff is translucent. It doesn't cover it very well at all. I have to put at least 2 coats on, which is a pain. I got it on the black. Of course I did. No, we'll just have to touch that up with the black paint. Black, but I also got it on the green. I'm trying to get it off the green very, very clumsily. Okay. I'm gonna have to put it, I have to repaint that, but at least it's not where I don't want it. Right in the corner here. I just need to get the black line fixed a little bit later. To get a second coat on there anyway. But get the seat painted. This big brush here. What? I just, it looked like it was okay, and then it didn't. No, it's just the variation in color. It needs a second coat. But I'll get that after break. Okay, well, that's better. Gabby. All right. Yeah, things are just starting to get a little bit ragged here right now. So I'm going to clean up a little bit, take a break, let that paint dry, get a second coat on it, touch up the black, and then maybe cement the seat on. I think I might do that, yeah. Okay, well, I've been pretty quiet today because I've been doing all sorts of little fiddly stuff, and stuff sort of been working and stuff sort of not been working. But this is getting really much closer to being finished than it was not too terribly long ago. Finally, after redoing some things several times over, looks like it's going to be adequate. And then I'll have a race car, and I'll be moving on to something else. The things I'm going to be moving on to something else is going to be finishing up the Apollo, the command module for the Apollo. I just need to get that finished and done out of the way. And then I'm going to start on a model of the command bridge of the original Enterprise. It's a reissue, 25th anniversary reissue of kind of a silly model of the Enterprise bridge. Is here. Oh, here. Exceptional cover art. Okay, I need to take a break. I'm going to put the break button on because this might be like about 15 minutes or so, and I will be back. There it is. Okay. It was a slow getting back from break there. I wasn't quite convinced that I was going to work. Okay, I got some second coating to do here and some black touching up to do here. Put these back on. See what I'm doing. This paint got just real gummy really fast. It's red. I guess I'll squeeze a little more out. I'm doing the seat cushion, the authentic seat cushion. Sometimes just the simplest things. the least fun. That'll be okay. I just got tiny bits of black touch up to do there. And when the red paint is dry, I'll do that. It's just, I managed to make a mess of my base sheet here. In case you're wondering, this gets glued onto the back of this. It gets cemented on there so that it looks more authentic than it would have if I just used it as it came off the kit. I need to wait for the red to dry before I can do the black touch-up. And once I get the black touch-up done, then I have to decide what to do next. Well, the seat, yeah, I can show you what I'm into here. Move some stuff aside. Wow, everything just is in the way. Everything is in the way of everything else. This is the bottom of the car. The other thing is the top of the car. And now the top of the car needs to go and be attached to the bottom of the car. We would think that would be extremely easy, right? But they don't line up. And so when the little tabs there, they line up in the back, the front doesn't line up. And so the way this will work is the that this, of all things, really, what's happening here is, I don't know if you can see it flexing. The instrument panel, the dashboard of all things, there, maybe that'll work. The dashboard was getting in the way. So the pins in the back line up. This wasn't a problem before the dashboard was put in, but then the dashboard is there. And it rocks on the dashboard. And of course, then the more I mess with this, the more likely it is that something will go wrong. So that's not too bad there. Now it's okay. Now it's setting okay. I don't know what was wrong. I don't know what was wrong with it, but now it's setting okay. Sort of. Well, it'll be more work than it should be getting that on. The other bit is, still need to decide this. This gets attached here. Careful. Yeah, attach the seat. Attach the seat before I put it in. Okay. Messing around with it to do that. Touch up the black paint with the flat paint. A tiny little drop of this. Head magnifier's back on. Do the touch up. After I do this, getting to that point where I just need to stop doing anything that requires a good deal of delicacy. Hmm. It worked. Okay. The red is just not, it's not covering that well. Okay. I need to stop messing with that. Clean the brushes. What am I going to do for the last hour? I'm not sure. I think I'm going to work on my maxi fig. So the next step is to attach this to the bottom of the car. The thing I was messing around with before where it wasn't fitting very well. Okay. And then it did, and I don't really know what the difference was. I'm not sure what happened there, but if I can get it to fit, if I can get it to fit the way I want it to fit, then it should be okay. Dump these. So this gets put on here like that. Really, and I'm really tempted. I really would like to get this done now, so that I can assemble this on Wednesday. But what I keep it's just yeah, the paint is okay. It's just not. It should be easy enough to do. And then just set it like that. Keep scouring up the paint. Okay, I'm going to use the contact cement on that. I'm going to go ahead and do this because if it can you just set. I need a thing for it to set on. Oh wait, maybe this box would work. No, it's too big. The radiator hasn't fallen off. That's good. I just set it on end like that. Do that. Well, should have something in place before I do that. And then I want to make sure it's set aside so I don't mess it up. I'm gonna do some rearranging here. Sorry, I need to take a few minutes and just clean things up, to make room. Ideally, I would put it in one of these boxes, but I'm not sure I can get that. It's just, it's just a day, whatever. It's a day. We used to have all sorts of little blocks of wood all over the place, and now I'm not finding quite exactly what I need. The fencing in action. Yeah, that'll be the right size if this will work. Okay, I'm going to put the contact cement on and attach the parts and get them lined up. And then it'll be good for it to set until Wednesday. Hopefully it will set nicely. We take these out of the box because I want the box to be clear for that. Every time I handle that part, there's an opportunity for something to go wrong. And I keep waiting for wrongness to take its opportunity. Huh? Right. I'm going to actually let that set. It says they recommend waiting 15 minutes before attaching the parts, and I've never taken that much time. But this time I'm going to, because those need to grab pretty hard. And then I need to get them lined up just right. So while those are setting there for a few minutes, okay, I'm going to move them up here out of the, they're sort of on camera, but not too much in the way. This is what I can be working on. I'll touch that up later. What I need to do with this is many things. One of the things I need to do is paint silver highlights. I'm going to use gunmetal. It's kind of a dark grayish, slightly bluish silver. Is all the edging on the cloak and the little curly cues, and then the edging on this. Okay, and the curly cues back here. I'm going to be doing that. And then I'm going to wash the rest of this armor this green color so that it all is shiny green. I need to put some wash on the leather straps and the undergarment. And that line isn't right. Okay, well, I can do tiny little bits of touch-up while I'm doing this, while I'm waiting. Infinitesimal little bit of touch-up there that I'm just seeing that needs to be done. Just right here. Where was it now? It was obvious. An obvious flaw. There it is. You can only see it. From one angle. Yeah, do that without busting anything up, breaking the model. So I did some. Oh, this poor brush. Bristles are. Okay, I'm going to do some brush repair here. There's some bristles that are not cohesing at all. They're splaying away from the point. And when that happens, then the paint goes awry. Like rye bread rye, but like not where it's supposed to awry. So do I wash the leather now? No. I'm going to wash the leather after I get the green wash on the armor, because there's a chance that the green wash would be somehow just splashed onto the brown here. If I spread wash around, okay, and it gets onto the brown, and the brown is already washed so that it's, highlighted and shaded, I'd have to repaint the whole thing and reshade it. Whereas if I get the green wash onto the leather color now, then I just have to put the base coat on and then work really hard to not get the brown wash onto the green later, as it is. And then here, what's going on there? Like there's the paint just scraped off. Trying to decide which to do first. I'm trying to decide whether to do the green wash on the armor and then paint the filigree, think if I did the green wash on the armor, that would be the best, because I might, again, if it sort of slops over. Yeah, I'm going to put the seat together and then do green, and then green wash this. And there might be some back and forth if it gets messed up. I don't know. Let's see. So let's see if I can do this. The main thing is to get it like lined up, so it's oriented. Straight. I want it straight. Okay, that's basically it. I just want it straight. There was a lot of manipulation of this to get it to work at all. That might be okay just to leave it like that. That might be best. Looks crooked. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, I'm going to put this in the box here. Move the box. Knock things over. I want the seat to not be crooked. And I want that little piece of stringy whatever it is to not be there. Looks okay. I don't know why it looks a little. To just leave it. If worse comes to worse, I can detach it and try again. But that is as close to getting it to look historically accurate as I can get it. Yeah, like that. The seat on the model originally really bad. I mean, show you a picture of it, but that's how it's supposed to be. It's red, and then those black bolsters, and then the red cushion on the back. Okay, that's how it's supposed to look. There, like that. And if I were to move the camera, that's pretty much how it looks. Okay, which is good. But look what they did. Look at that. That is not at all what it should look like. So I did a whole bunch of manipulation. I cut the top of that off, glued it to the back because they actually put the cushions on the model that are covered up this way. Their model looks better than mine, but I did the best I could. Okay. I'm going to finish washing this so it's green. I'm doing touch up on the wash on the boots as well. So this is the wash I made. It's this, which does not come clean. The solvent, the thinner, adhered the paint to the plastic really well. I've had way too much. I made way too much initially, and so I saved it in this little container. And there should be enough to do the rest, to do the model. Find out. Hopefully it's maintained its liquidity. Hopefully I won't knock it over and spill it all. Oh, wow. Yeah, I just got it all over the bottle cap here. Touch up the boots. Do boot touch up before moving on. No, this is going to go pretty slowly, it looks like, so it'll probably be the last thing I do before I finish today. Try to make sure it's not too, I don't want it too splotchy. You want to just splotchy it. Almost got green wash all over the flame. That was not a good thing to do. Trying to find all the spots that I had missed or touched up and needed to be redone. Okay, well, I'm going to start. Guess I'll start at the top here. A really pretty color, I have to say that. This particular figure, even though the armor isn't exactly accurate, is a furbog fighter. It's my character on our Dungeons and Dragons show. And since I'm doing this, I might as well talk about it. Dice and Dungeons puts on an amazing Dungeons and Dragons show that streams with a live chat on Sundays. But you can catch it all on YouTube and as a podcast, and I would encourage you to do that so you can catch up on earlier episodes, for example, okay, and get to know the characters and stuff like that. And that was a good example of why I'm doing the wash before I do the shading of the leather part of the armor, because I almost got wash all over the leather color. So I'm a furbog fighter, and I was trained, actually, I was orphaned, you know, the usual tragic backstory, right? You always have to have a tragic backstory. I was orphaned, and an elf came along named Lan Ferran, who claimed to be from the Order of Ramardan, which turns out not to exist other than in his imagination, I guess. But he taught me the tenets of the order and also the fighting style, which turned out to be the fighting style of a different group called the Tashira-Nun. Lan Ferran actually had been a member, a high-ranking member, one of the 3 leaders of the Tashira-Nun, and he left because the Tashira-Nun were basically just real jerks, and he didn't want to be a jerk anymore. So he left the order and found me in what was left of my village and made me his apprentice, basically. I acquired his armor, which, you know, was comically, it was elven armor, so it didn't fit me, being a furbog, being much larger. Used it for a while, but after many adventures, I actually acquired this armor. It's not exactly this, but this is what it represents, which is a set of magical armor that actually belonged to Ramardan. It was a gift from another one of the founding members of what became the Tashira-Nun, Taro. This is magical elven armor. The magic is currently not active because the armor is damaged and needs to be repaired, and I don't know how to repair it yet. But hopefully one of these, sometime in the future, I will learn how to wield the hammer of Ilantaro, another legendary, hugely magical item that was an important part of the story. Get as much of this in these areas that are impossible to reach as I can. Put a little bit more on it, and a little more color. So that's what I'm currently wearing, is the damaged magical armor of Ramardan. And it's the Tashira-Nun colors are green and silver. And so that's why I'm doing the undercoat of the silvery color and then washing it to make it look glimmery green, which looks pretty decent on the boots. I might have to give it a second coat. Or maybe what I should do is stir this up a little more so that the pigment, there's more pigment in it. Pigment's kind of settled out of the solvent. Or I'll just put a second coat on later if it needs to be darkened. So in addition to, putting the green wash on it to make it look green as well as shiny, I'll be doing some detail work on it, like Nicole, who is an artist, number of Dyson Dungeons suggested, for example, that some of these plate areas, like the front of the boots and the shoulders, the flat plates, might be painted a glossy, solid, glossy green. Probably do that. Just make an effort to do that. Like these plates down here. Seem to be able, I shouldn't speak too soon. What I was going to say is I seem to be able to get this done without making a huge disaster or a mess, but I still have a lot of opportunity to do that. So I spoke too soon. Usually the biggest source of the mess is what almost happened earlier, which is when I almost slammed the green wash laden brush into the already painted sword, flame sword. Flaming longsword is my main hand weapon. And then I've got this ice dagger in my offhand. But as anybody who's watched this stream before knows, the major source of oopses is bringing the brush up to the surface to be painted and away from it. It's like, oh, I'm very careful in my detail painting here, but not very careful about getting the brush to and from without, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the buckle here. It'll probably be, it might even be painted gold, but I'm going to paint everything green now, just so it is. And then I can do detailing later. That's what I'm telling myself. So this model, the plate on this model is actually the non-magical heavy armor, plate armor that I was wearing before I found and acquired the armor of Ramarden. Okay. So it's not exactly how it will look. We have to I've leveled up too, so I actually need a new minifig for the show. So I'm going to have to work with the other members of Dyson Dungeons in the design of the next minifig so that I can get the armor the way all of us together imagine it should look. But this one, it's heavy armor. It's just more elvish than this, I guess, I have to say. But I think this will make the point at least. It'll, if I can embellish it, detail it well enough, it should look pretty nice. It looks better green though than it did silver. I like this. I really like this color. I hope it ends up working out really well for when it's done. But yeah, at least I'm doing some Dungeons and Dragons stuff here, which is nice, as opposed to working on a model car. So this is supposed to end up looking like the armor of Remarden, at least in terms of color scheme and detailing. And so I'll be working on this, in between bits on the car, because there's going to be bits on the car where I'll get a little bit done, and then I'll have to wait for something to dry or set up, or just let it go until the next time, because it's the last 45 minutes of the stream, and it requires some delicate work that I can't pull off that time of the day. The ice blade has got blue on it. That was a fancy little detail that I sort of did, huh? Sort of good brushwork, sort of. Can't get there from here, huh? There we go. I'm told what I'm going to do with the cloak, which I'm going to attempt. Told by Zoria, Ansul, Nicole, is multiple layers of paint and wash. Make it look. I want it to look velvety. So what I've been told to do, and this is what the effort that I'll be making over the next bits of time when I'm not working on the car, the race car, is after painting the silver detailing, or in this case the gunmetal detailing, after painting that, is to wash the whole thing with a dark gray wash, making sure that the wash puddles up in the valleys. So a pretty heavy wash. And it'll look really gross. It'll look really dark and so on. And then to come back with this color, the color it is now, and highlight the upper surfaces so that the dark, it remains in the recesses. Okay. And then if I really want to try something, get a lighter shade of green and do, high point highlights. And then try to maintain some sort of consistently really nice texture with the brush marks that are inevitably going to remain, trying to do that. We'll see. That might work. It might work out. If it does, it'll be very nice. If not, then I'll probably just repaint it. Okay, well, I got some on the leg there. I'm going to go ahead and retouch that like right away, just so I don't forget it. And then I'll check to see if I got it on the leather color anywhere else. Right now, it just looks like that one spot. Well, now it's shiny green, which is better than it was when it wasn't green, because it's supposed to be green. And it wasn't green, so it didn't look green at all, but now it does. I've only made one little spot that's messed up. I bet this would look good on there. Here, if I should try that. What I was thinking of was putting this wash on here. Actually, I could do that. If it doesn't work, yeah, see, it looks okay on there, but it's not dark enough. It doesn't give the dark under that Nicole thinks that it needs. So I'm going to do what she said and use a dark gray wash on it. Okay, let me clean this. I'm sure I missed some spots. I'll have to come, like that spot right there, right on point. Yeah, it probably is a good idea to take a look at this from a different angle, right? Because then I can see things just like the tip of that needed to be, but wasn't. Oh, jeez. Yeah, almost knocked the whole thing over. That would have been very not clever. Yeah, there's spots here. Somehow I managed to get silver. I don't know how that. I must have missed a spot there. Right on the top where it's going to show. Okay, well, I guess that's okay. Close this before I knock it over for sure. There's a couple of little spots I need to do with just touching up. So it's, getting the paint out. I'm not having this. It's not even enough to squeeze paint out of the bottle. I'm sometimes able to just get enough from the tip of the bottle to give that a better cleaning to do what I need to do. Like this little bit, like that spot right there that I missed. some time ago when I was painting. Somehow managed to miss that. So I can just take this. This is my thought, and get a little bit of paint right out of the tip of the bottle like that. And it's touched. Look at that. It got touched. I've got a little bit of paint out. I'll take a look around. The rest of that looks okay. It's just that one little spot. It's a little spot there too. Right here. There. See? There's touching up. Tiny little bits of touching up. Okay, well, the timing on this is working out okay. Thank you for the new follow. I appreciate it. I hope this wasn't too terribly boring or anything for you. But yep. So I'm working on a little bit of a giant minifig here for my Dyson Dungeons character, and then on Wednesday I'm going to go back to the assembly. I'm getting into the final assembly bits of the Lotus-Ford model. All right. So it's brush cleaning time. Wow, that's a real mess up there. I don't understand that. So the armor is shiny, and I think Nicole is absolutely right that it needs to have wash on spots. I just keep seeing spots that need to be green that aren't. Along the edges. This was done on a PLA printer, and so there's a lot of linear texture here. I mean, this wasn't done as a rosin model or anything. It was just a PLA. So, in some ways, it's a little rough textured. So there's going to be embellishments on the armor. Some of these plate areas, I'm going to be painting the same dark green as the back of this cloak back here. That was a suggestion. It's just painting that and then highlighting the rivets. I think that would look good because it's kind of boring otherwise, like on the vembraces and the shoulder. I don't know if in the past I've done like a stripe on the plate armor in the front. I might do that like right there. Again, if it doesn't look good, just repaint it. Yes. Yeah. So there, let's move along. I'll leave this on camera. Actually, I'm going to lay it down so that you can kind of see what it looks like. On Wednesday, I'm going to install the top of the race car onto the bottom of the race car. And if I can get that to work, I've been having some real problems getting that to fit correctly. If I can get that to fit correctly, then I can put on a bunch of other little bits, suspension parts, the back engine cover, the tail cone, the rear bumper. Just this is going to be the next trickiest part. Okay, there'll be some tedious parts, but this will be the trickiest part because it's the main body of the car. But if I can get that assembled, then the rest of it will be it won't be too awful. It won't be too awful to get done, I hope. And then the last part that will be I mean, a little bit scary is applying the decals because, you think about decals and those, when you're a kid, you just slap them on, right? But you have to be careful to make sure there's no bubbles in them and that they're the correct location and that they don't tear. Really not, that'll be one of the last things I do is applying the decals, but I'll have to be really quite careful about it as well. There, this is coming along also. So I'm not going to show you. I can show you that by just moving the camera. That's the top of the car, okay, which looks okay. There's a big 82 circle right there on the front, and on the sides are the decals for the sponsors. Those will be, huge decals. Those will be tricky to apply. But if I can get the 82 on, that's like, boom, it just jumps right out at you. If I can get that on and make it look okay, that'll be a good thing. So yeah, on Wednesday, I'm going to put that part that I just showed you onto the bottom part, which is in a box back there. And if I get those together and it holds together well, then there's a bunch of other little fiddly bits that need to be put on, not to mention the wheels. I said not to mention them, and then I just mentioned them. Oh, well. The other thing I need to do when I come back to this model is I need to do some shading on the leather parts. And I did some testing with different washes. This color is the color of the under leather on the arms and legs and stuff, and this color up here is the color of the leather straps that hold on the metal armor. And I think I'm going to go with a dark brown on the leather. This is way too yellow. This is kind of orangey. I don't like it. It doesn't fit everything else very well. This covers too much of it. So I'm just going to use a bunch of dark brown, maybe layered a couple of times to, just to give it a little bit of texture. So it, the wrinkles and things show. And then on the straps, I'm going to use the dark gray, which is also the color of the wash that goes on its face and on the cloak. I think I'm going to put I think I can do the dark brown wash. In terms of the next steps on this is painting some of these flat surfaces, this shiny green, washing the leather undergarment. Oh my, okay, I need to fix that. And then painting the gunmetal filigree all around the cloak. Just saw a spot. Another spot. One last spot of touch-up before wrapping up for the day. Just a spot here on the left knee where the green wash got onto the leather color. There. So yeah, Wednesday, please come back. Let's watch the next step, a really important step in the assembly of the Lotus-Ford Racer. If that goes okay, then there should be fairly clear sailing until the application of the decals near the end. Hopefully that will be the case. So, thanks all for watching. I'll be back on Wednesday at about 10 o'clock and go for about 3 hours until 1. See how much I can get done. Thanks again. See you then. Oh, yes. Be absolutely sure to check out our Dungeons and Dragons show. The best way to do that is get onto YouTube, look up Dice and Dungeons on YouTube and watch some episodes. It's really a good show. It's not just people sitting around playing the game. It's actually a D&D show, and it's very entertaining and very well produced. Thanks. See you then.